welcome back to Mom Survival. In today's video, I am sharing with you why I am anti-bug out bag. The very first thing that my husband and I did when we first started prepping was build a bug out bag. We stuffed everything that we possibly could in a ginormous bag that was super heavy, and we thought we were set to go live out in the woods should something happen. And most bug out bag videos you will find on YouTube is just that. It's to survive out in the wilderness, to start fire, to filter water, to basically live off grid out of a backpack. In the movies, you see all these people that are just survival experts and they grab their bug out bags and they just go Rambo it out in the woods and they're completely fine and happy, and that was their bug out plan and it worked out for them. And what I have to say about this is I just feel like it's so romanticized. Like, if something happens, you just want to like abandon your house, take your bug out bag, go live in the woods, the wilderness, and that's how you're gonna survive the apocalypse. And obviously I know not everybody thinks this way, but I just think it's like completely absurd for anyone to think that trying to survive out in the woods versus trying to hunker down in your house is a better option. Adding to this, just completely like trying to rationally think through the importance of having such type of bag. I gotta relate it back to being a mom. That's what this channel is. I try to help out, and create ideas for parents, because I don't feel like there's a lot of that out there. A lot of people talk about having a bug out bag, but they never include like children, especially small children. So after having my son and now having a toddler, and knowing how loud he is, knowing how much he doesn't really listen, knowing how much he won't walk in a straight line and he gets distracted by every little thing, and how truly impossible it would be for us to stay I can tell you we do practice hikes all the time, and I can tell you it takes us 3 times longer to do just the smallest of trail with him, and that's okay. It's age appropriate. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just being a very rambunctious toddler. But I can tell you that we would not get anywhere far on foot, hidden, not discovered, and it be productive. I also can tell you it would be my worst nightmare to have to go out and live in the woods with my son, and now I'm gonna have a newborn on top of that. That would be my worst nightmare ever. And there's no way I would be able to do that without being discovered. And also, I live in Indiana. You can see behind me, we have trees and stuff, but most of it is farmland, like this flat land behind us. We do have hills here, even though people don't think we do. But I will say, most of it's farmland. And most of that, if not all of it, obviously is owned by somebody. So it would be next to impossible for us not only to get somewhere far on foot, but also to go live somewhere without some farmer being mad at us for being on his land. Even looking at the book 1 second after, which is like a big prepper book we refer to, right? It is a good read to kind of look at what the fall of society could look like. But even in that book, people aren't running for the hills and living out in the middle of nowhere. They stayed in their house, they protected it, and they protected their community as a whole. So it's not like even in that situation where they had a complete societal collapse, did they, try to live out in the middle of nowhere. They stayed in what they knew as much as they possibly could. Watched a bunch of interviews from people even in Ukraine and Hawaii, like the fires that happened. And even though they fled their country, they went and sought shelter, right? They're not just staying around their house in the woods and living out in the outdoors, but they went and found a different home to live in even. So I look at those modern situations where you would even have to flee your house and it wouldn't be possible to stay at your house. They're still going and seeking shelter elsewhere. It's further just kind of backing my logical thinking of, okay, even if I did pack a bag, we want to have some water filtration and some fire starting to get us to our location, but the ultimate goal would be to get somewhere, right? A well-equipped bug out bag is really just a well-equipped refugee without anywhere to go, right? Like, you are a refugee if you're not planning to go somewhere. So again, I just don't see the point of packing a bag without an end to the bag. But I will say, I realize that you can't always be at home. It might take you a few days, say like an EMP happens or something, and you have to go on foot to get home. I realize the importance of preparing for those situations, and I think there's different levels of that. So I will say I am pro get home bag, where you have items in there that, yes, you could survive out in the wilderness for a couple of nights with the end goal of, like I said, getting somewhere. And I'll say this, my husband He's a plumber. He drives all over, you know, the 3 states around us. I never know where he's going to be. So it does make sense for that person in our family to be a little bit more equipped to spend extra days outside, right? For me, I look at our situation and we don't go far from home often. My son has a few classes around here, but it's not like we're traveling miles and miles away often. So it doesn't make sense for me to weigh myself down with having to carry a baby, with having to carry a toddler, with more than just a couple of nights having to stay outside, right? So just trying to really look at your situation. Where do you go on a regular basis? What does it look like for your family? How many days do you think it would take for you to get home on your regular schedule? And taking all that into consideration, which is what our family's doing now. And of course, I'm going to show you what we come up with, but I just wanted to make this video to kind of explain why I think the typical bug out bag and the thing that you see in Hollywood and the thing that most YouTubers make a video over, why I don't agree with it and why I think it could potentially be dangerous if you're trying to lug this big old bag around with kids and trying to get home. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think it could potentially even put you in more danger. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you have a bug out bag? Are you more of a get home bag type of person? I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. But that's gonna be it for today's video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.